Okay, so in this assignment, we're still going to write linear equations just like we have been in the past. The thing I'm going to add to this assignment is we're going to use that linear equation to predict another outcome or to come up with another outcome. So I'm going to do the first two and leave the next five for you to do. I have the first one says a group of climbers began climbing at an elevation of 3,500. So recall that for each one of these, we need a starting amount. If we don't have a starting amount, we're going to assume a zero. So 3,500 feet. And they climb at a steady rate of 400 vertical feet per hour. So we also need a rate. So we have the two things. We have our starting amount and we have our rate, and our rate is always going to be multiplied by our variable. So this, if I wrote it in function notation again, would be f of x equals 3,500, which was my starting amount, plus my rate of 400, and that's per every hour. So I'm going to multiply that per x or times x. So that would be my function. And if you wanted to write it in terms of y equals, it would be y equals 300 or 3,500 plus 400x. Same thing. I still prefer function notation to these. All right. And then part B says, what is their elevation after 3.5 hours? So the 3.5 is my variable, and that gets subbed into my x position. So, and I would also sub it in here. So that would be f of 3.5, which lets me know I'm looking at this at 3.5 for my x, is equal to 3,500 plus 400 times 3.5. And if I grab my calculator, 3,500 plus 400 times 3.5, I get 4,900. And that was going to give me their feet, right? So that's 4,900 feet. So these climbers would have an elevation of 4,900 feet after 3.5 hours of climbing. Let's look at number two. The diameter of a tree increases by 0.15 inches each year. When you first started observing the tree, the diameter was 5 inches. So I have my starting amount here at 5 inches, and I have my rate over here at 0.15. So this would be f of x equals the starting amount, 5, plus 0.15 every year. So 0.15 times x, and you don't have to have those parentheses around your x. All right, so that would be my function. And then if I want to determine the diameter of the tree 4 years after I started observing it, it would be f of 4 is equal to 5 plus 0.15 times 4, which would give me 5.60 or just 5.6. And that was going to be in inches. So if I wanted to describe it, the tree would have a diameter of 5.6 inches 4 years after I start observing the tree. So I'm going to leave the rest for you to do. Should be a relatively easy assignment. It's not going to be too long. There's not a lot of problems. Essentially, we've already looked at writing linear equations. The only thing that I'm adding here is having you apply that equation to a certain value for my x.